when it comes to production and growth. It really, really is amazing, and it will get you fired up. The man, the myth, the legend, Jay Kenner, coming to us here in EX World. Jay, are you up here with me, bud?
I am on my way.
There you are. All right, I love it. And you got flip flops on. That's perfect.
I do. Yep. Always got my flip flops on.
All right, everybody. Well, Jay is going to bring the fire. So, Jay, talk to us about one big fire and go for it. You've got the time that you need.
All right. Awesome, guys. Hope everybody's doing great this morning. I am fired up. I'll tell you what, that panel was pretty amazing. Grant Gove was awesome and amazing as always. And I'm excited to share with you today what I'm going to be covering about one big fire. So let me load this presentation, make sure we got what we need here.
We're standing by here to help, Jay, if we run into any trouble getting the slides up and all that. So
okay,
behind you if you need us. Yes, sir.
I think that hopefully this is going to work. Let's see here. Do y'all see?
Not yet. All right, so you got the link. We're going to walk through it live here, guys, just like all the folks that Dave said they asked on short notice to get up here. Everybody that's going to be jumping into sessions to present, guys, we're going to, those of them who brought slides like Jay, because he's always prepared, we're going to make sure they get their slides shared and get comfortable. So we're going to go through the tech stuff live. Anybody who's ever a speaker, you'll remember how to do this. So let's grab the, in the presentation, Jay, on the right-hand side, let's grab the 3 lines. Let's go take ownership.
Ownership, there we go.
Then next click, reset the board.
Okay.
There we go, so board's reset, beautiful. Next thing you're gonna do is in the web address bar, drop the link.
Got it.
Hit enter. What we're looking at here.
It reset to the same one. Y'all are seeing something different.
All right, one more time. I'm going to grab it and see if I can get it, and then Okay, so now, so we got the presentation. See if you can click through on those little arrows. It might not because I have ownership, so I'll remove ownership and let you take it, and then you should do it. Do those 3 lines one more time, Jay, and take ownership. Oh.
Okay, hop back to the other slide.
Sure did. That's control.
And for everybody in the audience, just if you guys will take a peek in that upper left-hand corner and notice that there's 1,030 people in the room right now.
Jay?
Right on. All right, what do we do here?
Hit enter. Click on that address bar and then hit enter.
Thanks, Randy. And over 300 in the live stream as well. So we've got almost 1,400 people fed in this. Amazing. Love having this. Love having everybody so much together. And then of course, all this will be recorded out there for you guys as well.
Try pasting the link one more time, Jay, and then hit enter.
Oh.
Is it a different link?
All right, I'm going to remove your ownership. I'm going to take it over real quick. I'm going to get them up here, and then I'm going to give it back to you one more time. Try it again here.
And then worst case scenario might be funkier, but Kurt might.
We'll drive it for you.
We've
driven Jay's slide before. He just talks faster than the click. Right. That's the only secret to the magic. So, all right, let me see what happens when I remove my ownership and try to give it back to Jay. I remove my ownership. Jay, take ownership real quick.
Done.
Hope these stay. Now, over your mouse over the picture. Do you have the buttons to go forward and back?
I have the buttons.
See what happens. bottom left, try forward and back on your screen. We have the slides.
And everybody in the audience, you can either, if you go to the screen Zoom up top, right, you can either click onto Zoom on the main web screen, or you can do main stage, and that'll do a great view no matter where you're sitting of the stage and Jay and the slides.
No dice, Jay?
Yeah, the arrows are.
Presentation tool a little bigger. Size it up. Then arrows should be in the bottom left, forward and back, or forward. Not, I'll drive and you talk.
I got you. All right, here we go, guys. We're ready to rock and roll. So, one big fire. So I'm going to briefly kind of give you kind of a little bit of a backstory for those of you who don't know me, just so we can be all on the same page. But what I did was I broke down really the top 3 success pillars of top producing agents, and that's what I really wanted to cover here today, to get you excited about all the sessions that you're going to be sharing. Mercifully brief introduction. Been in business 23 years in the real estate industry. It creeps up on you, man. I'm on my 3rd decade. So my best year, I sold 531 homes. Over 4,300 homes I've sold in my career. And formerly was number 2 in the world for Coldwell Banker for a number of years, and then started a coaching and training organization that coached top agents from around the country. And in 2004, started a company called Radio and Television Experts with a friend of mine, Matt Wagner, that actually did radio and TV for real estate agents all around the country. So we've helped some of the top agents. If you were to go into just about any market in the country and look at who is the top agent in that marketplace, and you survey the top 10, probably, I'm going to say probably 2 or 3 of them in every single market in the country probably has either been coached by us or was a part of one of our companies that we had that helped them build a big successful business. And so that's kind of my backstory. And one of the things that really led to my success and seeing the success of other people you heard this already, right? You heard everyone on the panel and how many of them talked about the benefit. Marcy Williams talked about the benefit of flying out to the other people's offices and looking what they're doing and looking under the hood of their business, going back and duplicating that in their own business. And my office was actually one of the offices that they came out and visited. They actually came out to Lawton, Oklahoma and visited my office. And we did the same thing. I went and visited their office. I visited other people's offices and literally used to fly around the country. And the same people, I would always see the same people at these events. And we started to kind of run in the same circles. And so what we all knew is we enjoyed spending time around each other because we were all bigger thinkers and we were all trying to grow a successful business, and being around like-minded people is such a huge benefit, and we all have that benefit here at EXP. But we wanted to be in business together, but we never knew how. And so when we started the move over to EXP, we claimed claimed, I guess, the one big fire as that's what this is. It's how do we put our fires together and make one big fire? And it would have never worked before because we would have never been able to settle on what the name of our business would have been. And we'd all joined together and it would have never made sense. But it's such a blessing to be in business with all of you and be in business all together. And we have one big fire instead of our little fires that we're burning individually. And so EXP is that one big fire. And the benefit today is you're going to get to go in and listen to what we used to fly around the country all over the place to learn from all these top agents around the country. You get direct access to that throughout the entire day today and plug into these sessions where people that are actually doing what it is that you want to learn, they're out there doing it and they're going to show you exactly how they're doing it. And I've kind of been known to say that. And so I'm not the smartest kid in class, but I always sit next to them. And that's really what you have to do is pay attention to what people are doing to be successful and just be a good copycatter. My mentor, Jay Abraham, used to joke. He didn't joke. I always joke. That me and Mike Reese, my business partner, we used to go copycatter number 1. This is copycatter number 2. Over you, read me. Got a good idea over here. This is pretty good stuff. You need to check it out. And we would always jokingly talk about being good copycatters. We were just really good at copying. And Jay Abraham used to get really upset with me. He said, you're devaluing what it is that you're doing. You're modeling success. And that's really one of the number 1 principles to success. And so what is your definition of success? When it comes down to success, I looked it up in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. I think everyone has a different version of what success may be, but it says a degree or measure of succeeding, favorable or desired outcome, also the attainment of well favor or fame. And that may or may not be the the definition that you would use. But one thing that all of the great people in the world that have been highly, highly successful all agree on one thing. Success only comes by persevering through failure. You have to push the pendulum of life to failure before it will ever swing to success, as Darren Hardy says. And the more that you push to failure, the more that it will eventually swing back to success. And that's never been more true for anything that I've ever done in my life. Real estate was absolutely fail. You have to fail in order to move forward. And so embrace the struggle, fall in love with the process, and just know that if you're failing, if you're not failing, if you're comfortable right now, then you're not growing, and you're not growing and getting better. And so that's the key to success in real estate, is to just continuously fail forward, pick yourself back up, and keep moving forward. And that's where you're going to find success. The most successful people, the people that you saw on stage, they have all failed massively, and that's why they're successful. And so always remember that, and don't get discouraged. And there is no secret to success. The secret to success is do the work, okay? There's not going to be a magic pill I'm going to share with you. There's not going to be an easy button for success. If you want to be successful, you absolutely have to do the work. So, and if you aren't where you want to be in your business right now, then you simply haven't learned something yet. That's all it is. It's something there's something you can learn that would change that. And once you kind of embrace the fact that, hey, I'm just not where I want to be in my business. What is it that I haven't learned yet? And figure out what it is that you need to learn and go learn that, right? And so this is a pretty impressive statistic. 95% of all the transactions are done by 5% of the real estate agents. I'll say that again. 95% of all the real estate transactions are done by 5% of the real estate agents. And so what I wanted to unpack today was what are the things that make that 5%? What is it that made them so successful? So it's something you can duplicate, something that you can kind of grab a hold of and take and say, okay, these are the things that where I've got to get better if I want to be one of the 5% that's doing the majority of the business. And I'll tell you this, it's top agents. It's not because they write better contracts, is it? No, I don't think so. It's not because they're better at showing houses than you are. It's not because they're better at putting signs in the ground. There's none of those things is what makes an agent one of the top agents. There are three things that make a difference, and we'll start with the first one, and it's the biggest one. They are master marketers. They understand that they are not in the business of selling real estate. They are in the business of marketing. They understand also that if your business is, let me explain this. Every agent I've ever talked to, and they come to me, and this may be you. If this is you, I want you to let me know if this is where your business is at. If your business is coming from unpredictable sources, you will never have a predictable business. I'll say it again. That's a writer downer. If your business is coming from unpredictable sources, you will never have a predictable business. If your business feels like it's a roller coaster and some months are good, but some months are bad, it may be because you have unpredictable sources. If you don't know where your next deal is coming from, then it's because you don't have leads sources that are very predictable. Whether it's coming from referrals or it's coming from your past clients and repeat business and all that business is great, but you can't predict it and you're not in control of it, right? And so that's an important thing that you have to understand is you want to have a predictable business, then you're going to have to learn how to spend money in marketing to acquire a customer. And so the main thing that they know how to do is they can spend $500 and turn that into 10 grand. It's pretty amazing. In some cases, you could probably turn $100 into 10 grand. And so, let's look at where, think about how amazing real estate is, right? So you can invest your money in a whole bunch of different places. I pulled this up as just typical return on investment from different vehicles that you could put your money in. 2% for a high yield savings account, the S&P 500 index, 9.8% annually, residential real estate, 10.6%, commercial real estate, 9.5%. Those are the types of return on investment you can get if you put your money into any of those vehicles. And if any of you are putting your money into those vehicles, that's fine. But look at what the return on investment is if you invested in yourself, in your business. So you put $500 into marketing and into your real estate business. And if you get I don't know what your average, you do your own math, right? But $10,000 is about the average commission, kind of, for at least where I'm at here in Dallas, Texas. What is the return on that investment? That's 1,900%. Who can get those kind of returns, right? You can, if you learn the skill of marketing. If you learn the skill of marketing, and how to acquire in control of it. You're basically paying them to do the arbitrage on lead generation, and it's not a skill that you're learning. You want to learn the skill of how to acquire your customer yourself without needing to depend on any of these other lead sources that could change tomorrow, right? So that's a really important skill that you want to learn. So invest. I want you to think about your business differently. I want you to invest in yourself, invest in your business. And if you do this, you will find that every single person that was up on stage, the most successful people, have all become master marketers. All learn that skill. And so pay attention to the things that they're doing when it comes to marketing. Look at your top competition in your marketplace and see what are they doing differently. What are they doing successfully that I'm not doing? I think what you're going to see a lot is that they're spending money in marketing. They're not afraid to invest in their business because the return on that investment is so great. And so that I'm getting some questions that are coming through here, which is awesome. And I will come back and answer all of those as we get towards the end of this for as long as I'm able to in here. But that ROI calculator, I just Googled it. It's just an ROI calculator. And I wanted to get the exact ROI, which just so I didn't want to give a false number. So I just used that calculator I found. If you Google ROI calculator, I think that's where that came from. There's a website for it. Okay. So, all right. So here's what to I can't get. Go ahead. Talking to myself. Is anybody else hearing an echo? Okay, it's gone. All right. I'm not going to be able to do like a full marketing lesson today and teach you guys marketing. I can tell you I spent lots of years and years and years and years of studying the subject of marketing and how to acquire a customer. And there's so many pieces to it that there's no way I could do it in this session. But I want you to, it just starts with a simple framework to understand how marketing works. The first thing is, who is the target market? Who is it that you're going to be marketing to? Is it a buyer? Is it a seller? Is it a first-time buyer? Is it a empty nester? Understanding who it is that you're talking to. Somebody that's in the military, their background. Like your target market is understanding. It's not just, you can be very broad and say it's a buyer or it's a seller. But in most cases, if you're doing marketing, you want to speak specifically to the person that's most relevant. Are they moving up? Are they moving into town from out of town? Are they looking at new construction? What do they have kids? Understand the persona of the person that you're trying to talk to, because in marketing, all you're trying to convey to that person what your value proposition is in order to help them accomplish their goal. That's really all marketing is. And so the next piece of the puzzle is understanding traffic. Where are you going to find them? Where are these people, and how are you going to put your marketing or advertisement in front of them in order for them to come to your website? And the next is the offer. What is the bait that you're going to use to attract them? And this is probably the most underutilized thing I see in real estate. Real estate agents not having offers. If you're doing an open house, what is your offer to every single person that comes in the house? If you don't have an offer, something of value to offer, then how are you expected to get them to say yes to you, right? So every single thing that you're doing you should have an offer. What is that offer for a seller to do business with you above doing business with somebody else? What is the offer that you have to a buyer to do business with you above doing anything else? If you can't articulate clearly a value proposition of why someone should do business with you above doing business with somebody else, then you're going to have to talk to a whole lot more people before you're ever going to get somebody to do business with you. And then from a marketing perspective, that means you're going to spend a whole lot more money before you're ever going to actually get any return on that investment. And the last one's the funnel, is how are you going to convert them into a client? What is the process that you're going to use to ultimately, the sales process you're going to use to convert them over to a client? So I'm going to give you an example. You're probably going to want to write this down, and I talk fast, and these are kind of long. So I want you to just get the basic gist of it. Is if I have a buyer lead that I generated somehow through marketing, I am going to say on the phone. What I say on the phone is going to be the most important thing. It's the headline. It's the main thing that you say. We have a proven, repeatable system that's backed by market research to save you thousands to tens of thousands across the home buying process. Would you like for me to show you how we do that? Now, I don't know what everybody is saying when they get a buyer on the phone, but that is a reason why that buyer should run red lights to meet with me and buy a home from me and let me represent them. You follow what I'm saying? It's not a reason for. I didn't use selection. I didn't use, I got a free list of homes. That's the old school script everybody's taught for the last 20 years since I've been in business. That is a reason why someone should do business with you above doing business with somebody else. Does that make sense? If You want to have some reason. And again, I think what most of you do as professionals, and I applaud everybody that's here today, because we all had the choice to be in here learning and growing and getting better, and you guys all chose to be here. And that, to me, is the differentiator. The agents that don't show up to these type of events are the ones that are not trying to grow and get better. So, this is a skill that you should absolutely learn. So having a value proposition that you use as a reason why, and I bet most of you have a process that you help. Do you help the buyer with getting finding a lender? Do you help them with getting the best possible loan? Do you guide them through this process and help them with the negotiation of the contract and the negotiation of the closing costs and all of that stuff and all that? You do all these things, right? You have a process. It's just being able to articulate that as a value proposition. And I believe that if you do a good job, you can save a buyer thousands to tens of thousands across the home buying process, no question. And so that's my value proposition if I'm talking to a buyer. Same thing on the sell side. It's a little bit different. Same from the top. We have a proven, repeatable system backed by market research to sell your home for up to 18% more than methods of traditional real estate agents. Would you like for me to show you how we do that? That is a reason why someone should meet with me. Now, before you all freak out and say, how are you going to sell a house for more than 18% more than what a house is worth? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that in any marketplace, there's a top of the market, middle of the market, there's a bottom of the market. And there are things that we do and a process that we use to get a house exposed to the marketplace to attract the highest possible offer, right? A house can be staged, a house could have professional photography, or a house could be multiple colors and outdated, and the grass is 4 feet tall and it could smell like cat urine. One's going to attract the low offer, one's going to attract the high offer. But it's the 115 variables involved in the home selling process that we manage that determines whether you attract the high offer, low offer. And so that is what I communicate to a seller in order for them to have a reason to meet with me instead of listing with, we have a friend down the street that's a real estate agent. And I can tell you that's what people do, right? They choose someone that'll do it for cheaper. And this is another writer downer. In the absence of value, people question price. In the absence of value, people question price. If people are questioning your commission, questioning your value, then they're not seeing the value. You're not making the value visible, what it is you do to earn your commission. So you want to make sure you can articulate your value proposition so they see that you actually have something you do that's more valuable, a process that you use to sell their home for the most amount of money. That is the key. So those are just a couple nuggets I wanted to drop just to give you guys some context for marketing is the most important thing that I could ever teach you. And this is the kind of the foundation, nuts and bolts of it, right? So what's number 2? Oh, and I did add 2 books for you. So, and I'm not, I've read a lot of books. It's surprising. If anybody would have, if my school teachers would have been surveyed as to how many books they think I would read in my lifetime, I think they all would have probably said, I don't even know if he can read. So I'm from Lawton, Oklahoma. I'm a country kid, graduated in the top 25 of my class, but there's only 36 of us. So that's where I come from. I didn't read a lot of books until I realized that every problem I've ever tried to solve, somebody wrote a book about it. It's unbelievable. Whatever you're trying to learn, there's lots of people that are really smart that actually wrote books on how to solve that problem. And actually, several of my examples today are going to be Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy is one of our mentors. The guy charges $34,000 in one day. He convinced us to pay him that money up front, actually half of that money up front for a day with Dan Kennedy in 2001. And impressively enough, so we think about it, one of the things that Dan Kennedy says, he says amateurs get paid at the end of work and professionals get paid before work begins. Ouch. We get paid at the end, right? So Dan Kennedy taught some amazing principles on how to be positioned as the go-to expert in the marketplace. And the 2 books I recommend from a marketing perspective, if you want to start learning how to do marketing correctly, are Dan Kennedy's No BS Direct Marketing is the first book, and the second one is No BS Trust-Based Marketing. Everything that I've learned about marketing, not everything, but almost everything I've learned about marketing are in those 2 books. And Dan Kennedy's great. He's great at writing. He doesn't use near enough pictures, in my opinion. I'd like to see more pictures in his books, but it's definitely 2 go-to books that I would highly recommend that you add to your library. So number 2, and let me tell you something. I promise you this, it's not that hard. that anybody can do this stuff. I'm telling you, I'm living proof of that. And everybody you heard on stage, the people that are sitting up on stage, super successful, are all telling you the same thing. Like, this is something anybody can do. This is not something, we don't have some special gift, right? You just have to want it, as Brent Gove said earlier. All right, so what was number 2? All right, what else do they know? What else do these top agents that are doing the 5% of all the business, what else do they know that maybe you don't know? You'll never make $1 million doing $1 million a year doing $10 an hour work. This is a huge key to your success. And it is so easy to get caught into this trap where you're just doing it because it's easier to do it instead of delegate it. And you have to move away from that mindset. They understand, these agents all understand leverage. They're highly productive. They're only doing the dollar per hour work that it makes sense for them to do. And so this is a really simple rules of delegation here. If you suck at it, delegate it. If you don't like doing it, delegate it. Except for marketing and sales, don't delegate the things that drive revenue. And until you get to a certain point, you can hire someone to do the work. Like, for instance, some people don't like making calls, but I'm afraid to tell you that you're going to have to make calls if you're in real estate. So that's something that you can't really delegate. At a certain point, I made all the calls. I called every physical, every expired, did that for a number of years. And then I decided I wanted to hire someone else to do it so I would never have to do it again, right? But I did make those calls. And so I believe you have to make the calls. You can't delegate it until you've done it. And so, but if you don't like it, other than that, if you don't like doing it, you're probably not very good at it, so delegate it. And if it's not a high dollar activity, I mean, high dollar value per hour, what's the value per hour? I'll show you a little graph here that'll help you to kind of, I think, see more visually what you're seeing the agents that are on stage doing that will make it more clear. So let's do some math here. So let's say income goal is $250,000 and the annual hours worked 2,000 is a pretty good number. That's like giving you a month off and a bunch of weekends off too. But the value of your work that you have to be doing at all times has to be at least $125 an hour. If you want to make $500,000 and you want to have a two-week vacations and have some weekends off, which is that's at average 2,000 hours, it would be $250 an hour. So if you could pay somebody less than $125 an hour to do that work, it's got to come off your plate. When you start thinking about some of the things that we do in our business and in our day, right? If like you just